Thousands of clone troopers were killed and vanished beneath the mud of Jabiim. Jedi commanders were hunted. Hope drowned beneath endless rain. And for a young Anakin Skywalker, the battle would leave scars that never truly healed. This is the horror of Jabiim. Jabiim, the planet that never stops raining. With less than 5 days per year without precipitation, the rain break would only last less than an hour, according to locals. The harsh storms made it impossible for long-range orbital scanning, limited visibility, and prevented the use of gunship air support, and could only support land units for disembarkment during very unpredictable windows of time, with Jabiim only receiving aid until it was already too late, with a leader named Alto Stratus orchestrating a coup, siding with the Confederacy and killing most of the loyalist members of Congress, with one member, Captain Orlis Gilman, escaping the violent coup and seeking Republic support. This made Jabiim one of the most horrifying and terrible battles of the Clone Wars. We start with two members of the Jabiim Nationalist Army who are with the Confederacy discuss that Republic forces are moving and talk about the Jedi and the Republic and think they steal babies and cut women in half and grow soldiers in vats and ride giant monsters, and boom, we have two AT-ATs start shooting up everywhere. This is the first time we ever see AT-ATs in Legends not associated with the Battle of Hoth. There are these imposing monstrosities that are nearly impossible to take down, as you see in Empire Strikes Back. The Nationalist forces have no chance and are shredded by everyone, including an ARC trooper named Alpha, who appeared first back in Republic number 50 in the Battle for Kamino, and is this imposing and badass ARC trooper that joins Anakin and Obi-Wan throughout their adventures in this Dark Horse run. Anakin tells Alpha not to execute a trooper and that we can't end this civil war by killing half of the planet, and Obi-Wan agrees, and Alpha just smacks the guy unconscious. They overcome the main emplacement, and Alpha recommends they send a flanking force to prevent enemy retreat. Alpha remarks that this is the third position that they've taken this week and haven't spotted any battle droids, which is odd. They regroup at camp and the Jabiim Nationalist captives have these prejudices behind the Republic and the Jedi that they eat children. Obi-Wan says that billions of beings have never seen a Jedi, so don't be surprised. We turn into an epic panel of Alto Stratus, the leader of the Nationalist force, and explains they were loyal to the Republic for 3,000 years, but believes that the Republic never helped them out once, and always ignored them during their many crises, and think they just want to return to just take the ore and want to send the Jedi home in caskets instead. Orlis Gilman, the leader of the Resistance, gives the background of Alto and how this conflict came to be. Alto is just surrounded by commandos named Nimbus, and his real ally is the Confederacy, and promised mining rights in exchange for weapons. A dozen outposts have been destroyed but haven't found Stratus and the Confederacy. Alpha thinks they should assassinate Stratus, but Obi-Wan disagrees completely and says, if you can't be helpful, you can just join the Padawans, and here he remarks, a fate worse than death. Alpha does say that they are getting spread out and at least a day's trek from the main base, being slowed by the rain, and communications equipment is waterlogged, and now they have to wait until the Confederacy finds the Republic force's weak spot and attack in full force, and a lot of good folks are going to die. And lo and behold, that's exactly what happens. The Confederacy, led by Alto, attack and destroy tons of troops and Jedi and an AT-AT, and in one of the most horrifying things I have ever seen, especially as a kid when I first read this, and still now, you see a Jedi concentrating to bring a vehicle out of the mud and getting stabbed from behind by Alto Stratus. This is the first of many horrifying moments you will see in this story, and it only gets worse. To see a Jedi getting killed in this way was so unexpected and just blew my mind. Alpha, Anakin, and Obi-Wan appear, and Anakin challenges Alto, and Alto defends himself and flees the battle with his fast repulsor boots, escaping the Jedi. These boots are equipped by all the Nimbus troopers, making them a nuisance. The Republic only has one walker on the move, and Obi-Wan wants all forces to protect it. The Nimbus troopers plant the charges on the walker's legs and bring it down. Now you see the AT-ATs brought down much more easily than in comparison to Hoth, which is shocking to see, but makes sense considering Confederacy versus the Rebels. It's not even close to the forces and technology and manpower back in those times. Obi-Wan and Alpha have to rescue the forces in the AT-AT and ask Anakin and Padawan Aubrey to come back to help them at the AT-AT. But the AT-AT blows up instead, seemingly killing Obi-Wan and Alpha. What a shocker of a first issue. Of course, we know that won't be the end of Obi-Wan, of course, but lots of death already, and the last time we will see Obi-Wan in the Battle of Jabiim. On to issue number 56, and it's day 28 of the conflict, and we start with a weakened Jedi Master crawling in the mud, surrounded by the dead, and Alto Stratus and his commandos appear. He grabs the Jedi's head while holding his sword, and he says he saw his cousin crawling through the mud, a blaster burned through her gut, her legs crushed by one of the Jedi war machines, and he's really emotional, and cuts off the Jedi's head and holds it, and says the Jedi have brought only suffering to our world, and swears to bring them only pain. This guy is utterly ruthless, and showing a Jedi's head cut off is fucking brutal, and haunted me for a while. And that this fate could happen to a Jedi, never seen anything like this in the Star Wars media, and the fact that it could be this violent shocked me. Day 30 of the battle, and we go to Shelter Base with Captain Gilman, and they get the news that General Norcano's forces have been wiped out near the city of Chol, and he died. He is the Jedi Master that got his head cut off. General Leska assumes command and asks for a briefing. Alto Stratus has been beating them badly with 18 dead Jedi and 9,000 clone troopers killed so far. Alto has been located at Razor Coast, and if he's captured, then it's possible they could surrender. Leska asks this to be done, and the Padawans whose masters were slain, including Anakin, to be sent to the resupply convoy to avoid death. It is day 32 of the conflict, and we focus on the Padawans as they encounter a Confederacy attack led by Anakin, and he used Obi-Wan's tactic to do it. They meet up with Aubrey and Warble and ask if there's any word from Shelter Base. 3 more forward positions have been lost, and if they don't go back to Cobalt Station soon, they could lose another. Tay mentions that Anakin's mind is in chaos and he's grown more reckless without his master, and that he can't help but read his mind because Anakin broadcasts his motions like a jamming beacon and can't even think straight with it around him, and you can tell Tay and Aubrey are getting close with one another. Azulu, a Padawan of Jedi Master Glaive, mentions that she lost her arm, just like how her master lost her head, so you can only assume the bastard Alto did that. We also have 2 other Jedi Padawans getting close with one another, which you can understand, as in war, you could die at any moment, and yeah, anything could happen. Day 33 of the conflict, and Alto gets news that the Padawan convoy is heading to Cobalt Station, and they will be attacking them. Day 34, and one of the Republic vehicles sets off a mine, and they get attacked by Alto's forces. Anakin charges in with his forces and spreads his forces and sets off a mine that kills several Nimbus troopers. The rest of the Padawans start using the mines to their advantage and setting them off, and Anakin charges Alto, but a mine gets set off, and Alto's forces escape. Day 35, and General Leska says they defeated the Separatists, but at heavy losses, with no signs of Alto. Alto doesn't intercept the Jedi convoy and decides to recall the forces and wants to raise Cobalt Station to the ground instead. Issue number 57. It is day 37 of the conflict, and General Leska attacks the Separatists, but sunlight blinds her, and she gets shot and killed and tells the Padawans to run in her final moment. At Cobalt Station, Anakin remarks, "Let's enjoy the sun even for 1 hour while the thunderstorm still occurs." The Padawans notice an armada approaching and go to Alto's forces and meet with never-before-seen assassination droids. At Cobalt Station, Captain Gilman says that all the surviving clone troops and Jabiimi loyalists are falling back to Mesa South of their position, and that the Republic has planned a full-scale evacuation. But the transports can't arrive until the rain breaks. Stratus has an army of 10,000. And then the Padawans are the only thing standing between them and Mesa Station, and the signal cuts. So they know they can't evacuate in time and need to make a stand and slow Alto's advance. Aubrey mentions that she wasn't supposed to die here, and supposed to train with Master Windu, and that she was destined for the Jedi Council. They all decide to stay and promise to bury Alto before they bury each other. The Padawans get ready for their stand, but a hologram signal is encoded just to Anakin, and it's none other than Palpatine. This only leads to questioning how Palpatine gets a signal through there in the first place, and only for Anakin just shows Palpatine's cunning. Because Palpatine tells Anakin that he must lead the evacuation efforts because of course he doesn't want his prized pupil to die. Anakin rejects it at first and says he can't abandon his friends and relents to go. And Aubrey is okay with the decision and to take her master's holocron and asks him to promise to take it back to the temple. Day 39 and Anakin leaves and Aubrey just says, "Live a good life for those who are soon to die, Anakin Skywalker." Which really got me, I have to say. Then the attack starts right away. Day 40 and Tay gets killed and Aubrey gets psychic backlash from her bond to Tay and she dies. Day 41, another Padawan sacrifices himself and gets run over. Zuli fires on the Separatists and she gives into her anger and starts attacking the Nimbus troopers, and at least she's on their side, and an AT-AT gets destroyed and falls on her and she dies. Day 42 and the conflict is still ongoing, and two Padawans are face to face with Alto, and Alto stabs one of the Padawans while another cuts off his leg. They then get killed by incoming missiles, but that bastard Alto is still alive. Day 43 and Vabisha's containment suit is breached and will die, and gives Aubrey his lightsaber. One of the Nimbus troopers mentions all the assassination droids are destroyed and that they're the last ones. Aubrey charges and kills the Nimbus trooper and about to kill Alto, but he draws a blaster and shoots Aubrey. Aubrey does sacrifice herself to stab Alto, ending the battle. In the end, Republic and Separatists all died. On to the final issue, number 58, Day 42. Anakin is in an iconic shot on a jet bike similar to Episode 2, and he rides to the Mesa outpost and he sees the assassination droids and fights them back and walks the rest of the way until Day 43. They lost contact with Cobalt Station and Anakin arrives to meet with Captain Gilman, and the ship arrives to rescue the troops. The Republic arrives with very few ships and already lost 2 ships along the way to get to them, and only have limited time to escape and get off this planet. Literally 1 hour to escape, and he has to make that decision right away. He looks at the Clone Troopers and then the Loyalist forces and mentions to the captain that the Republic is fighting everywhere and needs every one of their troops on the front lines and can't leave his troopers, and gets immediately punched by Gilman, saying, "Blast you for proving Stratus right, and we risked everything for the Republic, and now you abandon us." Anakin just responds, "This is your fight now," and Gilman draws his gun and is rightfully angry. The war destroyed his home, and he has nothing, and will take the ships and go somewhere else. Gilman doesn't stand down, and Anakin is, for the first time ever, forced to use Force Choke on someone. But he doesn't kill Gilman, as he instantly regrets his decision. He didn't know what came up to him. Anakin asks the troopers to be loaded while they're in shock, and the Loyalists throw rocks at the Republic, and Anakin is forced to leave them, and Gilman just says, "We will not forget," and you see his face tear up. Anakin is also broken, and they get a signal, and Anakin just says, "Tell him it's over. The Battle of Jabiim is over, and we lost. We all lost." That line always gets me. It instantly hits you as you see both sides utterly destroyed, and no one wins in the end. The Confederacy loses a lot, but the Republic, my goodness, lost tons of Jedi and troopers, and the Jabiimi natives lost their planet in the process and home to this conflict, and must rebuild this broken world, which will take a very long time to do so. Now, this isn't the complete end of this story, as there's a little more with Anakin in a different region and have some special moments that connects to other stories within the Republic Clone Wars storyline, but I will let you explore that on your own. Also, there is another story worth mentioning called In the Shadows of Their Fathers from the Empire comic line that connects with Luke Skywalker and Gilman's son to Jabiim, but we'll probably leave that for another video. I just wanted to do a proper deep dive just of this insane battle that is the Battle of Jabiim. I would love to get your feedback, and if you want to see more of these videos, please let me know and what you think of the next story I should do as well. Don't forget to please like this video, comment down below, and subscribe to my channel Jango Fett if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Peace.